Your client wants something for you that's not a part of the deal, right? That's not a part of the package. That's not a part of the deal. Or it was a fast action bonus and they missed out on it. But now they email you this really nice, heartfelt email, and they're trying to appeal to your good nature to give it to them. How would you respond? What's your stance on that? Hello, everyone. This is Bushra Azhar back with another episode of The Persuasion Show. But this is not where you get to listen to me talk about random things, including things that involve a lot of bodily fluids. Instead, this session this is the How They Persuade series. And the first guest on How They Persuade series is Selena Soo. And if you don't know about Selena Soo, first of all, shame on you. And second of all, let me do the honors. So she is the creator of this absolutely kick-ass program called Impacting Millions. And what Selena does is something really interesting, which I see a lot of experts popping up right, left, and center talking about the same thing, but I can totally vouch for Selena's strength when it comes to teaching business owners, personal brands, elevate their brands, get in front of more people, and obviously impact more people. And I am so absolutely thrilled to have her with me today in the first series of first episode of How They Persuade. And thank you so much, Selena, for taking the time and talking to us.
Thank you, Bushra. I'm so honored to be your first guest.
Yeah, and first time is always special. We're going to make it special for you. So that sounded like a threat. I promise it was not a threat. I promise. Okay, so the way we're going to do this, because it's the first series, so I'm just going to take a moment to introduce the way this works. This is not your typical podcast interview, and I know everyone says that. So yeah, so please don't take me for granted on this. The way we are doing this is I am going to ask Selena 3 pivotal moments in her business where she went OMG, she went WTF, and then she went FML. And we've all had those moments. So she's going to tell us fair and square about those moments. And then I am going to get into some really tricky scenarios. I'm going to read out those scenarios to her, and then she is going to tell me how she would persuade the other person in that scenario. So I'm sorry, people, this is not your typical podcast, and I am pretty sure it will be interesting, especially Selena. I'll tell you why this is most interesting for you. Because you have this really positive, gentle, uplifting brand. And then I'm asking you to tell me what you would do in this really ugly, negative situation. So I'm pretty sure a lot of your people are probably not sure how to handle that disconnect. You know, the happy, dappy Selena, the positive Selena, how would she handle an asshole? That would be really interesting. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, just tell us a little bit about your business, your background, so people understand where you're coming from before we dive into your specific OMG and WTF moments.
Sure. So my greatest passion is promoting and helping visionary people who I feel like have ideas and work that could really change the world. So I started my business because in my mid-20s, I was not feeling very happy. And I joined this women's life coaching circle and started reading all of these inspirational self-help books. And I just felt like this was the most important thing. If I could, it was the most important thing for me to be exposed to people who were showing me how to find my purpose, how to have a career that I love, how to even start a business one day, better and healthier relationships and health. I just thought it was the most important thing. And so I knew that, I wanted to be able to promote people like that. And it wasn't something that I did until much later. I just kind of did it, just naturally. I would meet someone amazing. I'd be like, oh, you need to meet this person. You need to go on this TV show. You need to connect to that editor. So it's just a natural connector. And I feel like my life has really come full circle. Now I have a program called Impacting Millions, where it is like a step-by-step system to help people elevate their brands, get incredible publicity, and just impact millions of people. And so that is what I'm most passionate about. So I feel very happy about what I do. There's like nothing that is more exciting to me in the world than what I do right now. So I'm in a very good place.
That is a fantastic place to be in. Yeah, something I wish my husband would listen to me, because that is the best place to be in. Like, he's one of those who's stuck in a high-paying, shitty job, and he insists that that's how life is supposed to be. And I keep telling him that's not true. Anyway, okay, so tell us let's get into the specific tricky questions. God, I'm so excited. What gives me the greatest pleasure in life is making other people uncomfortable. So this is really exciting. Okay, your biggest OMG moment in your business.
My biggest OMG moment. I mean, I would say it has to relate to how far I've come. So when I started my business, like right before that, I worked at a nonprofit. And during that time and after, I was always just like helping people for free. I really didn't know if I had the ability to make a lot of money. I just saw myself as somebody who likes to help people, give advice, connect people, but I didn't know how to monetize it without it being icky, because I just wanted to help people. And so in 2016, the business passed the $1 million mark. And just for me, it's really significant because it blows my mind. I really didn't think it would necessarily be possible. And also for someone like me who is more introverted, who cares a lot more about service and making a difference than money, who, I say no to a lot of very lucrative opportunities based on my values. So I always thought like someone like me is more of the nonprofit type versus a successful entrepreneur type. And also I wasn't comfortable being like, now I'm better. We're doing a video interview right now, but in the past, like just having any attention on me felt very uncomfortable. I thought I'd have to stay behind the scenes forever, which I was uncomfortable with. So I think the fact that I crossed that, milestone in my business just shows that I've had to stretch myself and show up in ways that are very uncomfortable and grow as an individual and business owner. So I'm just, very, very proud of that. And it means more to me than the money. It's really that I was able to achieve something that I didn't think would be possible in my lifetime.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is awesome. And that you're absolutely right. I don't think we stop enough to reflect on that. $1 million. It's way too many zeros in that number, right?
Right.
So that's definitely OMG. Okay. Tell me about your biggest WTF moment.
Sure. So there's a couple. So I did a big live event about a year ago, and I had a speaker that I was really excited about, and I sent like solo emails to my list, like, this speaker is coming. I'm so like, this person's so amazing. You're definitely going to want to be there. And the event was on a Saturday, and then on Thursday night, I saw on Facebook that this person was on a plane to LA with this new hot girlfriend. And he was going to be at some Oscar party with Elton John. And I started to think like, okay, this is like Thursday at midnight. So even if he were to fly back, like, wait, he's not going to be at my event.
Oh my God. That's a huge WTF. Did you lose your shit?
Kind of. Yeah. I emailed my team. I was like, oh my God, we have a crisis. Like, what are we going to do? And I managed to get on the phone, like literally the next morning. I reached out to some of my friends, like who I thought could be replacement speakers. I think at like 7:30 a.m. And we were on the phone, like, really early in the morning. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, people are coming to see this person. I don't want to disappoint people. And I had one amazing friend, Derek Halpern, who stepped up and took this person's place. And the funny thing is, if I'd asked Derek straight up, like, will you be a speaker at my event? He would have said no, because he was saying no to every speaking event. But because I was in such a bind, he was like, no, I want to be there for you. So I just felt so grateful. But honestly, that was like the last thing I wanted to hear.
Oh my God. And the fact that he didn't even have the decency to tell you. You found out through social media, which is like, it's like he didn't even have the decency to break up with you. He just posted a picture with his new girlfriend. Oh my God, that's horrid. Oh my God, that's horrid.
The funny thing is, like, I'm actually still, you're going to think this is bad, but I'm still friends with this person. We were able to patch things up. I'm someone who is all about like harmony, and this person wasn't trying to be, I don't want to go into all the details because it's confidential, but wasn't intending to be mean-spirited, but there was a lot going on. And it was definitely bad judgment. But sometimes certain people, they just respond to situations in really interesting ways. And it's not because it's personal, it's because that's how they handle certain things. So I was definitely very disappointed, and the person knows that it was like the most stressful thing they could have put me through. At the same time, we've managed to patch things up, and I'm grateful for that.
You are a really big person. I would have egged their house. And I don't even know what I would do, but I've definitely not patch up. Oh my God, you're a really big person. So now, thank you so much for giving me the green signal that I cannot totally mess things up with you and you would still take me back. Yeah. Okay. 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 Question number 3. FML moment. Actually, the moment that you just told me is totally an FML moment. But yeah, a very FML where you're like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with life right now.
I mean, I have another, crazy moment that's actually connected to the same event. So, I mean, long story short, it's going to be a little while before I do a live event again, even though I love it. So I was in New Zealand with my family, just, enjoying the Christmas holidays. And I had gotten a visa. And when you leave the country, you need an official visa stamp to then go back in and be on the new visa. And so I went to, immigration offices to get the visa stamp. And the officer said, I don't know if this is the right visa for you. Why did you apply for this? We need to kind of put this under further review. And essentially, they weren't going to give me a visa to go back to the US. So this was in January. My live event was in February, and I had 200 people flying in from around the world, from Dubai, Hong Kong, Australia, and basically all of my top clients and students were there who had bought their plane tickets, paid for a hotel. I had put down so much money for this event and just been planning it for months. And it was actually very likely that I would not be allowed to, go back to the country, and who knows for how long.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and with immigration, it's not like you can just email them and persuade them.
No.
You can't just be like, oh, let's talk tomorrow, and just kind of show. So it was a very tricky situation, and it was just kind of radio silence for over a week when we were waiting for things to just wait for back. And I was definitely flipping out because I just value relationships so much, and so. It's okay, it's not just going to impact one person, it's going to impact 200 people and my reputation. And even if people understand, it's kind of well, I didn't follow through on what I said I was going to do.
Yeah, true.
And the last people you want to damage relationships with are all your top clients and customers, especially when I at the event, and that was going to be the foundation of my business and all the revenue coming in. So I don't know if I've ever been more scared in my life. Just a ton of anxiety. I didn't know what to do. And, I had a mentor who was okay, we will figure something out, whether we have to do this, as a virtual event with speakers, but that's not the same thing, because if it was a telesummit or just a pure virtual thing, I mean, that's a totally different price point. People don't, it's just, it would have been terrible, but I managed to just go back to the office and, I just showed up. And they were like, wait, why is she here? And they were confused, and they brought me into an office and they started talking to me. And I managed to get a different visa to come back into the US. It was a temporary one. And while I was here, I had to reapply for the one that I already got, which I ended up getting again. It's just that it's up to them, at their discretion. They can decide, you know what, I don't know if I want to give it to you. I might want to take it away, or I might want to put it under review for 6 months.
Wow.
Oh my God, I don't even want to leave the country anymore. So scary.
Ever. I don't want to leave the country ever.
Yeah. So that was, I don't know.
Oh.
I felt so powerless. And
exactly,
I also felt like there was nothing at the moment, very little I could do to persuade. So, sometimes if you're in the worst situation, but you're okay, I have my action plan.
Yeah.
I'm going to work the plan and do everything I can. And it's okay, well, I'm making progress. But when you can literally, there's nothing you can do. You're just waiting. You have no control. It's the worst thing in the world.
That is, I absolutely agree with you. And you're right. When you're actively doing something, even if it is not yielding any results, when you're actively doing something, your brain is at peace because it feels like it is, it is moving forward, even if you're not moving forward. But
right.
In a situation like this, you're so completely helpless that, everything's out of your control and you literally just have to sit on your hands and wait. That sounds terrible. Oh my God. Okay, I thought I was the only one in Saudi who needs a visa to get out of the country and then needs a visa to get back into the country. So it's really interesting that that's how it works there as well. Okay, excellent. Now let's get into the scenarios. Oh my God, I feel there is a reason I enjoy horror movies so much. I think I enjoy torturing other people. The glee that I'm feeling right now about putting you through that torture is just priceless.
Oh my God.
Okay. No. Yeah, come
No, it's
on.
just, yeah, no, it'll be fun, but I actively avoid stressful situations. So that's what you got for me.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay. So you are stuck on a deserted island with a person that you deeply despise. And before you jump in and say, oh, there aren't a lot of people I despise, I get it. Assume that you despise someone. How will you persuade them to cooperate so you both live? Because, you two are the only people.
You know what? There are actually people that I really don't like. I mean, I don't talk about it publicly, but deep down, yeah, in the world. So, oh my God, that's so hard because normally I can just, choose to not engage. But if I'm stuck on a deserted island, what would I do? I think first I would try to find a way to like them, or just see another side of them.
Such a typical Selena answer. I'll find a way to like them. How do you find a way to like an asshole, Selena? Please enlighten me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, everyone who is an asshole or who is mean or who's rude, there's like a reason for it, whether it is their upbringing or something traumatic happened to them, or they're just really socially unaware and they don't realize that they're offending people left and right. So I think that I would try to understand them on a deeper level and even understand maybe the pain that's involved with, them having this weakness. Even like, let's say you collaborate or work with someone that are like screwing everything up. Like nobody wants to screw everything up or nobody wants to go to not like them. So there is something that they're not realizing or something deeper beyond just that they're being annoying. So I mean, it would be really hard for me because there are people that I'm just like, I just don't even want to deal. I'm not interested in getting to know this person or engaging. But if I was stuck there, I needed to collaborate, I would try to do that first. And then I would probably like share things about me that were vulnerable and open and develop like that kind of relationship. Also, I think that usually the way to get other people to open up is to open up first and be that leader. It's just like, it's so funny in life. It's all the same thing. If you want other people to be interested in you, you
interested in them.
In them. If you want me to care about you, you care about them first. So it's just the same thing. So I would be open, vulnerable, like be more transparent and get to know the person on a deeper level and find that thing that I do like and do appreciate and that could also help us get out of this situation.
Oh my God, I love this advice, even though I'm like, oh my God, you would just get along with anyone. I'd probably starve to death in that island. Or I would actually kill them and then I'd try to eat them to live. That's also.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I love horror movies, I told you. Okay, you're lost in woods and you can only send one voice message to someone to come get you and save you. What will you say in that voice message? Exact words.
I think that I would probably be like hysterical, like I would be like crying, but I would also be like clear on what I need. I think that also sometimes when people just see like this huge emotion, they're like, oh my God, what is going on? Like this is an emergency. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big like planner. I like think through everything. So I would think about like, what do I need to say to get them to, help me in X particular way, like, because they don't just like find me, maybe they don't know like where I am. So I would kind of plan it out. And then I would record it and it would be like thoughtful, but I would also be like very emotional and have a certain sense of like urgency and desperation. Like I need you to save me right now. I need to, like, I usually, like this is just letting them know this is so important. I need them to stop what they're doing essentially and just like help me right away.
Yeah, you can't be like, you have to be totally un-Selena and be maybe a little bit Bushra style. So kind of a little bit of urgency, because otherwise it'll be like, oh, you know what? If you don't mind, could you mind come and get me?
Oh my God, no.
Definitely not. Okay, perfect. Okay. Your team member, your client, or your partner that you're collaborating with, for whatever reason, they try to engage you in a heated political or religious debate. What do you do? How do you respond?
Sure. I mean, I feel like this happens a lot nowadays where
yes.
people have strong opinions. I mean, what I would say is that like, I mean, I can see like, and I can appreciate that this is something that you're really passionate about. and I, can see your perspective. At the same time, I just feel like I am not informed. I don't have enough information about this to have a really strong stance. I know there's multiple perspectives, and I totally hear what you're saying. And, this is something that I want to learn more about. This is, I would keep things pretty neutral and make them feel okay about their opinion. I mean, unless it was something that was so bad, like it was like, I believe that, certain people need to be killed or harmed or really cruel. Like I would be like, okay, that's like,
yeah, I don't have an opinion on that. If you feel like they should be killed, then
yeah, no, I mean, I would be like, you probably shouldn't share that with other people. You might want to
you might need a therapist. I really think you need to talk to someone.
Yeah, I just also think that when people are really just like heated up, it doesn't make sense to have a debate with them necessarily, because it's like, what's the point? They're just going to get mad at you and they're not going to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if it was someone who was like a very close friend and we had like similar values, and all of a sudden, they had some crazy opinion or were going to do something that was destructive, I would take the time to like really have a conversation with them. But otherwise, other people, I would just be like, oh, like I respect your opinion. I can see why you would think that way. I don't necessarily think that way, or just like I don't have enough information to have such a strong stance like you do.
Wow. You know what, Selena? It just struck me. I'm really glad that I'm not answering these questions, because I would sound like a blood-hungry lunatic because your responses are so measured and so sane. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'd probably twist their neck if it was something about, I'm so heated. So it's really nice to hear that perspective. I'm so glad I'm not.
And the other thing is like, honestly, it's not like super easy to respond this way, because that's not like what I initially think. Like in my head, I may be thinking something totally different, but it's like, I can't just be like, emotional, because it's not going to help people. So it like requires a lot of brain power to think about, how do I communicate in a way that makes them not upset, that, that creates harmony. So it's definitely a pretty big intellectual exercise and not always my natural response in the moment.
Yeah. I love the word harmony. I don't even know how to spell it, but yeah. Okay. And now we're kind of getting into questions. Actually, the questions that I chose for you, the scenarios, are questions that I've personally dealt with. So it's really interesting to see your point of view. So you are on a client call or you are on a webinar and someone asks you a question that you don't know the answer to. How do you respond?
They ask me a question I don't know the answer to. Yeah, I would say like, that's a great question. Let me get back to you on that. I think that's all that needs to be said.
Yeah.
I think that if you make a big deal that you don't know the answer, then everyone else thinks it's a big deal. If you're just like, that's a good point, I need to look something up, or let me get back to you, because I could give you like the superficial, like 5-second answer, but there's like another piece to it. So let me follow up, and then make sure to follow up.
I like that. Okay. Your client wants something for you that's not a part of the deal, right? That's not a part of the package. That's not a part of the deal. Or it was a fast action bonus and they missed out on it. But now they email you this really nice, heartfelt email, and they're trying to appeal to your good nature to give it to them. How would you respond? What's your stance on that?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely people who will try to get things and just try to appeal to someone's good nature. I am very much about like consistency. Obviously there's exceptions, but I feel like, if I did something for someone else, I'm not offering to other people, then it's almost like, well, other people should just know to, try to cross a boundary and ask for the same thing. So it's like, why am I rewarding someone who is trying to get me to break my boundaries down?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, generally I have to like, just say that I'm unable to do that. And I usually say, sometimes I might get my assistant to follow up on certain things. Other times I might personally respond, but it might be the assistant who just explains, like, if they wanted some kind of bonus if expired, say, Selena is offering it for like the first 5 people only. You are, the 9th person, unfortunately we won't be able to do that, because if we did, we would have to extend that to everyone before you. And we've decided in advance that this is what Selena has available. However, encourage you to jump into the program because there's other opportunities to get personal feedback on group calls. As a reminder, here are the dates. Also, because you are one of our first people in line, and I know that you really wanted Selena's personal feedback, I can make sure that she is aware of it so that we do our best to get to your question on our next call.
This is my absolutely favorite response. I love that because I love, and again, from a psychological perspective, it's the kind of next best thing strategy. And I love that. I love that. So it's not just a no, it's a no, but there is the next best thing. I love that. I think that's an absolutely brilliant way of dealing with this. Okay. Now the scenario that I'm probably talking about, it probably does not apply to you because I'm pretty dang sure you never did anything like this, which is publicly saying something that is offensive to someone's political views, someone's religious views, to someone's culture, race, point of view, anything, and that person calls you out on it. Now, that has happened to me twice, both times inadvertently, never planned. So it is really interesting for me to see how you would respond because it's not just what you say. Sometimes people interpret it differently. So in my case, for example, there was one situation where I used a phrase, I do not live in the US. I have never dealt with racial issues because we're all brown from where I come, and we all basically judge people on the shades of brown. So I've never dealt with racial issues because I've never lived in a country where there are racial issues. So she called me out on it, and I had no idea. But there was another situation where someone reached out to me, and she said, "You use these phrases about beating someone down, and even if it is taking a piece of copy and beating it to a pulp, that's what I used." And she said that's really triggering for someone who's dealt with abuse, for example. And I had no idea. So if you were in such a situation, how would you deal with it? I obviously was like, I'm really sorry, please forgive me. But you obviously have more dignity. So how would you respond?
I mean, I think it's possible that, I could offend someone unintentionally.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was telling me about a newsletter that someone sent out where the person mentioned something about we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off. And someone wrote to them saying, I am vegan and I'm so offended. Like, I hated this imagery, and it just shows that you don't care about animal rights. And they just blew it up into this whole big thing where the person's like, that's not what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But I think it's so easy for people to get offended. Like, even when I think one year I mentioned something about Thanksgiving in my newsletter, and someone was like, not all of us are Americans. And I was like, oh, well, that's a good point, actually. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. It's just that, there's so many different people with a million different experiences and cultural backgrounds and views. And it's really hard to always know how to appeal to every single person. So we will hurt people's feelings, but usually it is helpful to know, because sometimes people will never tell you if you piss them off and they're just holding on to that resentment. So I think I would just say something like, hi, I just want to thank you, for taking the time to share that. A lot of people, wouldn't even think to share that feedback with me, that I definitely did not intend for it to come across that way. So thank you for giving me this new perspective. I'm definitely going to be more mindful about that in the future. So I would just thank someone. I mean, I've had situations where someone has gotten really, really upset with me, and I was crying about it. I'll share the situation really quickly. But I got invited to speak at an event, and I had said yes in the moment, but as the event was nearing, I think it was 3 months before the event was happening, I just realized that I didn't want to. And it was also, I wasn't able to take the time from my business, and I didn't want to be there. And I also wasn't in a place where I even felt ready to. So it was I was just going to be miserable. And so I went back and I had to cancel. And I was like, but I'm happy to suggest another speaker to you. And, thankfully he hadn't promoted the event yet, but even still, first a person was nice, but I was like, okay, don't worry about it. And then I was like, no, how can I help you? Can I find another speaker? And he was like, honestly, Selena, of all people, I can't believe you would do this to me. I have helped you in so many different ways, in your business. I've spoken at your mastermind events where the last time I spoke at an event, I made $180,000 on stage. I don't even speak at events. I did this for you and that for you. And not that I expect anything, but like, you know, I am really shocked that you would let me down in this way, and kind of like, you know, like F you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, I would have cried on that as well. I would have self-esteem, but yeah.
So I was like definitely crying about that. And then I just, you know, reached out to the person. I was like, hey, you know, can we get on the phone and talk about it? I totally understand what you're saying, and you're right. Like, that was really not cool of me at all. And then we got on the phone. I just said, you know, like, first of all, I just want to thank you for saying something, because, you know, I just care about our relationship so much. And so many people would never even just take the time to let me know that. And, you know, when I think about it more, like, I've done a lot of event planning in the past at the nonprofit that I work for. And it's the worst thing when people back at the last minute. It's like the biggest inconvenience, especially when you spend a year planning the event and the event is like a major part of the business. And so, you know, it was a really terrible thing for me to do. And like, let me, you know, I just want to fill you in terms of why I had to say no to the event. And I was also going through some challenging things in my life emotionally. I just didn't feel up for it. And I kind of filled him in on what some of those things were. And I was willing to be vulnerable. I started like crying on the phone. And he was like, oh my God, I had no idea. Because in my email, I was trying to be professional.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you know, thank you for the offer. Like, you know, I'm not going to be able to do it. I have other things. You know, in my business, it just don't allow me, you know, to whatever it was. And I didn't want to be like all emotional in the email, because I try to be like professional about things. But then he was like, you know, Selena, I didn't know that you were going through this thing. Like, you know, how can I help you? I just thought that, you know, like, you become so successful. I see everywhere you're on this podcast, you're on Mixergy, you're on, you know, Entrepreneur Inc. I just felt like you felt like, you know, you were getting big, and this is not worth it for you, that you just forgotten about me. I was like, oh my God, no. And I was like, frankly, like, I'm the least known speaker at your event. It would be a huge honor for me to even be on stage with the kinds of, you know, speakers that you attract. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with what I'm going through right now. And, you know, you know, that's the reason why. And so it was so funny, because he thought it was something totally different. He thought it was because I didn't respect him, and I thought I was better than him. I didn't care about all the things he had done for me. And it was because of a totally different thing. So I do think the phone call was good, because I'm unlike, I don't know, I don't think I would in email like share like personal problems in detail and get like overly emotional. So I think, I mean, now it's like when people invite me to things, I really like think super hard, like, is there any reason why I might have to back out, or something would come up where I can't do it? So I generally just say no to everything. If I do say yes, I think through every scenario in a lot of detail before saying yes, because also as I grow in my career and it means more for people to have me as a speaker, because maybe like with me being there, it will attract a certain audience, or it could be used to sell event tickets. Like, it's not cool to back out like that. So yeah, I also, because like back then I was like, oh my God, I'm like the least well-known person. Like, it's not really gonna matter if I'm there or not. But over time, it will start to matter more. I need to really like follow through. I mean, I generally follow through on everything. That was one of the times where I just had to say yes to myself over someone else. But yeah, that was like such a huge lesson. I'll like never forget that.
I love that. Oh my God. Okay. So because we're running out of time, I'm going to skip the last two questions, because otherwise we'll be here. And I have to say, this was so insightful, simply because we're so different. And I love the way you would approach these situations. Yeah. This last one, I probably would have done what you did, but most of the other cases, it's really, really interesting to see. And it's really interesting to see that side of Selena as well. There is somewhere down there is a mean girl. I just need to pull her out a little bit, but you don't let her get out. She's there somewhere in there. I think I might be wrong. Okay. So thank you so much, Selena. Please do tell us. I'm so excited about Impacting Millions. Please tell us about Impacting Millions a little bit more, and also where everyone can go check out Impacting Millions.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I mean, I started Impacting Millions because my greatest passion is helping elevate people who've got amazing ideas, messages, and work that just people need to know about. There are so many people that feel like, you know, I'm the best kept secret. Maybe I've got a handful of clients who think the world of me, or maybe I've got a community and a couple thousand people, but like, I'm not just meant to impact a small number of people. There are thousands, if not millions of people whose lives I could really change. And I think that the people that are drawn to me are not drawn to me because it's like, oh, I just want to be famous. Even if they want that, that's fine. But it's really coming from a place of wanting to make a difference and knowing that, okay, there may be another amazing business coach or relationship expert or, spiritual person or, guru. But I feel like I have this unique way of helping people. And it's almost like a responsibility, even a spiritual responsibility for some people to get their message out there. And so it's such a huge honor for me to be able to support those people. So I've got my Impacting Millions program that opens up once a year. It opens up in late March. So I encourage people to get on the wait list for that. They can go to selenasoo.com/impactingmillions to get on the wait list. And, I also bring people in my network into the program. So every month after the 90-day training, I bring in someone who, let's say, was a former producer at Good Morning America, or somebody who writes for Elle and Oprah magazine, or someone who has, been in charge of the contributors section of Entrepreneur magazine, to give people personal feedback on their pitches. So they're really hearing directly from the people who are the influencers in the media right now. So, and also with the curriculum, I developed it in a way, a couple of things that make it unique. One is I'm very thoughtful and strategic about the things I do, very intentional and strategic from the standpoint of, I know how busy entrepreneurs are. They've got a million things they could be doing, programs they could be launching, one-on-one clients they could be serving. So I don't want people to waste their time with things that are not essential, that are not going to move the needle. I'm always thinking about the 80-20. And so I have that business mindset as I'm creating the program. And even with all the media that people get, I really teach them about how to leverage it so that they can use it to actually increase their sales in their launch, get more people to say yes to their one-on-one coaching and so forth. So there's that really strong business aspect that is infused throughout the program. And also I have hired top people in media to help me, fine tune and develop the program. So it really is the best of the best. I don't think there's anything, stronger out there on the market for the people I'm looking to serve. So I'm really excited about it. And I look forward to supporting more people through that program.
Oh my God, that sounds really fantastic. And you're right. I have seen a few publicity programs, but nothing that comes close to this, real feedback and real exposure to the right influencers. I love that. Thank you so much, Selena, for hopping on a call. It was so nice to take a peek inside your brain. And I cannot wait to see this launch of Impacting Millions. It is so exciting. Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Bye.
Bye.